Reigandō, a hollow cut into the mountain's heart, where even echoes grow disciplined. They said the cave was cursed, that serpents watched from the cracks in the stone, that men who entered did not return unchanged. Musashi walked in alone. No lantern, no company, no comfort. Only a blade, a brush, and a mind that refused to kneel. The world outside had already bowed to his name, but in this dark, he bowed to something greater, the discipline that survives death. Days bled into nights, ink into silence, hunger into awareness. He began to see without eyes, to move without movement, to breathe without thought. The mountains stripped him of illusion, until only endurance remained. When he emerged, the man who had entered was gone. What returned was forged, calm as stone, sharp as steel, unbreakable. This is where strength is born, not in victory, but in the silence that tests the soul. So before you seek power, ask yourself, could you face your own Reigandō and rise from it unchanged by fear? To build a mind like steel, you must first see clearly, not through emotion, not through desire, but through the stillness that reveals what truly is. Most men walk blinded by their own reflection, seeing not the world, but their wants. They grasp at smoke and curse the wind for moving it. Their vision is noise, their thoughts, fog. Musashi began with the ground beneath him, earth, unmoving, unforgiving, silent. In the earth scroll of the Book of 5 Rings, Musashi spoke without ornament. The way is in training, not advice, a warning. Without discipline, there is no path, only talk. Clarity is not found in more thought, but in less illusion. It is the discipline of removing what clouds the surface until truth reflects like light on polished steel. You cannot hold two truths in one hand. Crush one so the other can breathe. Clarity demands sacrifice. You must release the comforting lies that feed your weakness, the stories that keep you safe. They will resist. They will whisper, "You need me." Ignore them. They are weeds across your path. The clear mind begins when excuses end, when you stop defending your pain and begin to dissect it. Musashi trained until awareness replaced opinion. He watched fear drift like a shadow on stone, acknowledged it, did not chase it. He knew the warrior who observes his own confusion is already stronger than the one who hides it. To walk the earth scroll is to return to simplicity. No decoration, no theory. Just stone beneath your feet and silence in your breath. Every thought is a step, every reaction, a crack in the path. Feel where your footing slips and plant yourself again in balance. The mind is a blade. It cuts clean only when sharpened against truth. Swing it through illusion and it bends. Hone it in stillness and it cleaves through fear. Clarity is not comfort. It is confrontation. It is standing naked before reality and not looking away. When you master clarity, you no longer need control over the world. You control the lens through which the world is seen. The storm may rage, your gaze remains. A clear mind does not ask, "What will happen?" It asks, "What is happening?" In that question lies command. The ground does not explain its strength, it holds. Be like that, unmoved, unshaken, certain in silence. For when the earth within you is firm, no storm can uproot you. So ask yourself, what truth have you refused to see clearly? And how long will you let the fog think for you? A clear mind becomes powerful only when it learns rhythm. Clarity without rhythm is still water, pure but lifeless. To move as Musashi moved, you must flow, not drift. Strike, not react. Become both calm and current. In the water scroll of the Book of 5 Rings, Musashi spoke of rhythm as the heartbeat of battle, the invisible order within chaos. He taught that when a warrior loses rhythm, he loses the moment long before the blade is drawn. Every life has rhythm, every heart, every silence, every storm. The mind of steel senses this long before the body moves. It breathes with the tide, not against it. It feels when to advance and when to remain still. That timing separates mastery from motion. The undisciplined act on impulse. They confuse speed with timing, noise with movement. They crash like waves without pattern, powerful, wasted. But the disciplined study rhythm like breath. They arrive already aligned with the pulse of the moment. They win not by overpowering, but by out-timing. Water does not fear rock, it shapes it. It yields to none, yet never resists. In rhythm, it finds dominion. In stillness, depth. Musashi trained until rhythm became instinct. He learned that every enemy reveals himself in cadence, in the pace of breath, the hesitation between steps, the rhythm of fear. Break that rhythm, and the fight ends before it begins. Rhythm governs all things: words, patience, restraint. Even silence has tempo. The man who speaks without rhythm scatters meaning. The man who waits without rhythm decays. The man who moves with it commands both chaos and calm. Rhythm requires surrender. Listen before you act. Sense the pulse in others, habits, moods, fears. Know their rhythm, own their direction. That is water's art. Adapt, anticipate, endure. You will not always be fast, not always strong, but if you master timing, you will always be inevitable. Breathe like the tide, slow, patient, returning. Let motion rise from awareness, not impulse. When your inner rhythm aligns with the world, you no longer fight against it, you move through it. Musashi's blade never hurried, never hesitated. It simply arrived. And when it arrived, it was too late to see. That is rhythm, to move unseen, to strike within a beat no one hears, to live in perfect time with inevitability. Be like water, flowing, patient, relentless. Yield when the moment bends, harden when it freezes. In that rhythm, find power. So ask yourself, are you moving with the rhythm of truth, or still dancing to the noise of your fears? There comes a time when clarity and rhythm are not enough. A warrior must burn, not wildly, not blindly, but with purpose so focused it cuts through hesitation like flame through silk. In the Fire Scroll, Musashi spoke of battle as living flame, ever moving, never waiting. Timing means nothing without initiative. The man who delays has already surrendered the moment. Fire is decisive motion, not anger, direction. It consumes distraction, illuminates truth, reveals weakness in all that cannot endure heat. Most fear this element. They mistake stillness for safety and calm for peace. But calm without readiness is only delay, and delay is death. Fire tests what earth built and water shaped. Here the forge begins, the hammer falls, the spark leaps, and the soft metal of the self must decide what it will become. Ignite without losing control. The untrained burn themselves, the disciplined temper the flame. Fury is easy, focus is rare. Light your fire only when the moment demands it, and when it does, let no hesitation remain to kill. Musashi's intensity was not loud, it was inevitable. He moved as if every strike were chosen by the world itself. No wasted gesture, no noise, only purpose in motion. That is initiative, to move as though destiny were drawn from your breath. To act before thought is not recklessness, it is mastery. Thought is slower than truth. When body and mind are one, action happens at the speed of being. You will feel it. The moment delay dies. Silence collapses into certainty. Time folds around your choice. No doubt, no fear, only motion. Beware, fire devours as easily as it purifies. Feed it pride and it consumes you. Feed it envy and it blinds you. Feed it discipline and it becomes light, not smoke. Fire reveals warriors. Some melt, some scatter, some rise unscarred, sharpened by what sought to destroy them. Musashi's secret: the true opponent was never another blade, but the part of himself still afraid to strike. Burn through hesitation. Let flame become form, not frenzy. Be ruthless in decision, merciful in spirit. Fire that destroys without restraint will one day turn on its master. When will and purpose ignite together, the world bends. That is Musashi's fire, discipline made visible. So ask yourself, when the moment to strike comes, will you be flame or ash? The mind of steel must learn to move with the wind. What cannot bend breaks. What cannot listen is lost before the first strike. In the wind scroll of the Book of Five Rings, Musashi warned against being trapped by form. Study the schools of others, but do not live inside their limits. From the wind scroll came his quiet command: perceive the enemy's rhythm, never be deceived by style. The warrior who worships only his own way becomes the prisoner of it. The wind teaches awareness. It passes through all things, touches every surface, carries the scent of change before change arrives. It listens before it moves, observes before it acts. Unseen, everywhere. Most men live as walls, resisting what they do not understand. They build opinions like fortresses and mistake rigidity for strength. The warrior who walks with Musashi's wind knows perception is armor. To see is to survive. Adaptation is not surrender. It is understanding the currents others ignore. When the wind shifts, the fool complains. The wise adjust their stance. The master has already moved. Musashi watched enemies long before a duel began. Stance, pride, breath. To defeat a man, see the rhythm of his mind. His victories felt inevitable because he had entered their pattern and rewritten it from within. Awareness is not about control, alignment. Flow through conflict as wind through branches, meeting resistance only to move around it. A rigid mind breaks where a perceptive one passes. See the world as it is. Ride it. The wind speaks to those silent enough to hear. It whispers through hesitation, reveals opportunity in motion. Most ignore it, drowning in their own certainty. Dissolve that noise. Listen to patterns behind words, emotion beneath speech, intention beneath action. This is the hearing of warriors, to sense before you see, to know before you think. The mind of steel adapts not to please, but to prevail. Change form without losing essence, as wind bends trees without breaking roots. Be like that, soft in motion, hard in purpose. Let no doctrine confine you, no tradition blind you, no master own you. Study everything, imitate nothing. Musashi's wind did not follow known paths, he carved his own. To follow the wind is to become it, unbound, unseen, unstoppable. So ask yourself, are you the wall that resists the wind or the current that moves through it? When all forms have been mastered, every rhythm heard, every flame burned, there remains only the void. In the final scroll, Musashi spoke of what cannot be taught, the space beyond knowledge, where movement arises without intention and awareness acts before thought. Not mysticism, precision beyond perception. The void is not emptiness. It is everything that remains when illusion dies. The breath between breaths, the silence between strikes, the unseen thread that binds all motion. Most fear this space. They rush to fill it with noise, with questions, with comfort. Musashi entered it willingly, and in that stillness became limitless. Walk into the void and leave behind the mind that needs meaning. Stop asking why and begin to see what is. Action and awareness fuse. No you and the world, only movement, only truth. The untrained call this detachment. It is presence so complete that self disappears. A mirror that reflects but holds no image. A blade that cuts and never remembers the cut. To live in the void is to live without resistance. Pain passes through without anchor. Fear dissolves before it takes shape. Desire loses its grip. What remains is pure intent, sharp, silent, indestructible. At Reigandō, Musashi did not write to teach, he wrote to remember. Discipline without effort, clarity without thought, victory without battle. The void is not absence, alignment. Everything you seek is already here, waiting for your interference to end. This is the final discipline, to act without acting, to know without knowing, to move without movement. When nothing is forced, nothing can be broken. Do not mistake this for surrender. The void is control, so complete effort becomes unnecessary. Mastery that breathes. When you reach this place, you will not celebrate. You will not announce it. You may not notice it arrive. The one who could recognize it has already vanished. The highest mastery cannot be seen. It no longer needs to appear. So ask yourself, can you walk into nothing and still remain whole? Solitude is the test few can pass. It is not silence alone that breaks men. It is what they begin to hear within it. At Reigandō, surrounded by stone and dark, Musashi let the world fall away. Not to escape the noise, but to face the echoes praise could not silence. Solitude is the forge of perception. When the crowd disappears, the mirror remains. In that mirror you see the truth, what still trembles when no one watches. Most mistake isolation for emptiness. They fear the quiet because it exposes what they've built on noise. They call solitude loneliness because they have never met themselves without distraction. Musashi understood. The warrior who cannot stand alone collapses when the world leaves him. In solitude, buried weaknesses rise like ghosts, regret, doubt, vanity, fear. Each demands your attention. Each tempts you to leave the cave before the work is done. Steel-minded endure. They stay until the noise within dies. This is not meditation, confrontation. It is stripping away everything that hides your reflection. No mask survives the stillness. No pride survives the dark. When all falls away, truth remains, raw, steady, indestructible. Solitude is not absence of connection, but purification of it. When you can stand alone, you no longer cling. When you can listen without reply, you begin to hear the rhythm beneath life. It sharpens awareness beyond conversation. A leaf falling, a drop of water echoing in stone, a breath that slows to match the earth. Not small things, the rhythm of existence. Train in solitude and rebuild yourself from silence outward. Each day without distraction, a hammer to the mind. Each night in stillness, metal cooling to form. Return to the world carrying its noise without being touched by it. Walk among men while their chaos cannot enter you. The gift of solitude is not withdrawal, but weaponized stillness. Be the eye within the storm. Hear before others speak. See before others move. Those who cannot endure solitude chase validation to fill emptiness. Those who master it need only presence to command respect. Walk alone long enough and you stop fearing silence. You recognize it as strength. The silence that once terrified you becomes ally, a voice in stillness, a friend that never lies. So ask yourself, when the world grows quiet, do you hear peace or the sound of what you still fear to face? A mind of steel cannot fear death, not because it seeks it, but because it understands it. In the teachings of the Book of Five Rings, Musashi left a truth carved in stillness. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Only a man who has accepted death can think lightly of himself. The one who clings to life fights in desperation. The one who accepts death fights in clarity. At Reigandō, he faced the shadow no blade could cut, the certainty that every breath was borrowed. He did not beg for time. He bowed to the inevitable and kept moving his brush. Each stroke, creation and farewell. Death is not the enemy. It is the reminder. Time is the only blade that cannot be blocked. Hesitation, indulgence, delay, slow surrender to what is already coming. To accept death is to be free from it. How can you be defeated by what you have already embraced? The untrained hide from endings and forget how to live. The warrior who walks with death breathes deeper, speaks clearer, moves without fear. You cannot control when it comes, but you can control whether it finds you ready. Meet it with trembling, it devours. Meet it with calm, it kneels. Death terrifies only those who never lived. The falling leaf does not curse the wind. It fulfills its season and descends in silence. So must the disciplined soul. When time arrives, fall with grace, unafraid, unresisting, complete. To meditate on death is purifying, not morbid. It strips life of triviality, makes every word sacred, every gesture deliberate, every day a vow renewed. Those who pretend immortality squander their hours. Those who remember they are dying turn each breath into creation. They no longer waste time, they know what time costs. Musashi's acceptance was not surrender, alignment. The force that ends life gives it meaning. Fight death, and you fight the rhythm of existence. Bow to it, and you master the dance it commands. Walk aware of the end, and you stop clinging to what fades. Pride, envy, approval loosen their grip. You act from eternity, not ego. That is freedom the world cannot understand. To live as if already dead, so nothing can take you. So ask yourself, are you living to avoid death or dying to prove you have lived? There is a freedom greater than victory, to act without needing to win, to walk without demanding reward, to move without hunger for recognition. This is detachment, the purest form of discipline. Not coldness, not apathy, but the strength to remain unmoved by praise or insult. In the Book of 5 Rings, Musashi left a principle like a blade without ornament. Hold no preferences that bind your vision. The man who fights for outcome is unbalanced before battle begins. His blade trembles with hope, and hope clouds precision. Detachment is motion without motive. Quiet mastery that refuses to trade effort for applause. The end of slavery to validation. Musashi walked through fame like smoke, untouched, unclaimed. The crowd's voice is a changing wind. Depend on it and you drift. Rise above it and you see. Attachment is heavy armor. It dulls senses, slows reactions, buries will beneath expectation. The more you cling, the weaker your grip becomes. Let go of the need to be seen. Release the hunger to be understood. Every attachment is a chain. Even gold chains bind the same. When you detach from outcome, you regain command over effort. When you no longer crave success, focus sharpens into precision. Act not to win, but because the act itself is the way. The untrained live in reaction, high on victory, broken by loss. Emotions swing like doors in wind. The detached move like stone through storm. Centered while the world spins. Detachment is not withdrawal from life. It is free engagement with it. Walk through fire, and flames no longer burn your will. Receive praise, and it no longer corrupts your clarity. Each duel stripped Musashi of illusion. Each victory emptied him of pride. until he no longer fought men, only the echo in himself that still cared to win. Detachment is not escape. It is mastery over meaning. You are not what happens to you. You are how you stand through it. When applause fades and silence returns, the detached remain the same, unshaken, unmoved, complete. So ask yourself, do you act to prove something or because it is simply who you are? To master the way, learn to see what cannot be seen. Sense before sight. Know before knowing. The untrained eye sees form. The disciplined eye perceives rhythm, tension, intent. Observation is not looking harder, seeing deeper. Vision that pierces appearance and recognizes the current beneath. Musashi's gaze was calm, merciless. He read heartbeat in stance, hesitation in smile. He saw patterns where others saw people, silence where others heard noise. He did not fight surprises, only confirmations. Most do not see. They look, surface, and call it understanding. Motion for progress, volume for meaning. What you see depends on what you can silence. The world reveals itself to the quiet. If your mind is loud, truth hides behind its noise. If your eyes are restless, patterns slip away. Let the inner storm subside and the mirror clears. Observation begins in stillness, but it is not passive. Wait without sleeping, see without judging, sense without naming, move without moving, like the moon guiding tides it never touches. He spoke little of vision, but his acts revealed it. He anticipated motion by feeling the weight of silence before it broke. He studied the bridge where intent becomes form. Discipline the mind to listen beyond words. Every gesture speaks, every delay betrays, every breath reveals. Learn this, and deception dies. Masks turn transparent. The moment before the strike becomes eternity. Observation is not paranoia, perception. Awareness sharpened by stillness, not fear. Know the rhythm of the world, and it cannot ambush you. The warrior sees what others miss. Trembling hand, uneven breath, flicker of doubt. But he also sees within, where hesitation begins, where illusion hides. The hardest thing to observe is your own mind. Master that, and you stop watching defensively. You move with ease, wind reading terrain, water sensing gravity, fire seeking air. You act not because you plan, but because you perceive. To see beyond the visible is to walk ahead of the world. You are no longer surprised by life. You are synchronized with it. So ask yourself, do you truly see what stands before you, or only what you hope is there? There comes a moment when the search ends. The disciplines stop feeling like lessons and become breath, silent, effortless, essential. This is integrity, the unbroken line between what you believe, what you speak, and what you do. A man without integrity fights his own shadow. Words drift one way, actions another. Strength bleeds into performance. But the one who unites spirit and motion moves with the force of 1,000 quiet victories. Musashi lived this unity. Sword, brush, breath, the same truth. No distance between thought and deed, no space between will and movement. Presence carried inevitability. He wasn't pretending to be strong, he was whole. Integrity is not perfection, alignment. The courage to act exactly as you must, even unseen. The discipline to hold your own standard when the world has none. Without integrity, strength is theater. Wisdom becomes decoration. With it, even silence commands. Choose to be one thing. Not many faces for many crowds. Not shifting shapes to be accepted. Choose the weight of truth even if it isolates you. A divided man dies many times. A whole one cannot be broken. When thought, word, and action align, life becomes a single stroke, clean, decisive, eternal. You no longer speak of honor, you embody it. You no longer seek respect, you radiate it. The world feels your steadiness before you move. Integrity is the summit and the beginning of service. When the warrior becomes whole, his strength stops being his. It becomes a mirror that awakens what sleeps in others. Integrity is not claimed, maintained, forged daily in choices no one sees, in temptations no one measures. A covenant renewed by action. Musashi endures not because of legend, but because he lived without fracture. The same in solitude and battle, in defeat and victory, watched and unseen. That is integrity. When even the gods cannot tell where your will ends and your way begins. So ask yourself, are you a collection of impulses or a single, unwavering line? Reigandō is silent again. The ink has dried, and the man who once held the brush is gone. All that remains is the echo of his discipline, the unbroken rhythm of a soul that refused to scatter. Musashi did not seek immortality through words. He sought stillness through mastery, and in doing so, he became both. He entered Reigandō to die, but in truth, he went there to live without illusion, to strip himself of the noise that followed him, victories, fame, titles, memory, until only the sword of mind remained. You walk that same path now. Every distraction you resist, every impulse you master, every silence you endure, is your Reigandō. It is where the world fades and your spirit takes command. The goal was never invincibility. It was untouchability, by fear, by doubt, by desire. To stand in life's fire and remain whole. When you leave this stillness, do not speak of it. Do not boast of what you've learned. Let it be felt in your presence, in the way your calm unsettles chaos, in the way your silence carries weight. For the man who has mastered his mind no longer needs to prove it. He simply walks, unshaken, unbound, unbreakable. And the wind still moves through Reigandō, but this time it sounds like breath.